In the Indian film industry has been so far, and what challenges have you faced in terms of opportunities and perceptions?
My experience was a bit different when especially making movies, because I was in Mumbai to become an actor. So those 5, 6 were like I developed a lot of bitterness, disappointments, also anger. And when I especially started watching world cinema, then it just I just I just thought I would be able to tell stories. I didn't know about the technicalities of movies, but because what I experienced in Mumbai as an outsider coming from northeast part of India, because it was so tough, what I did, I just bought a camera and I started my own. So when I was making my first film, that was with a professional crew, although it was small, but it was. I had a crew, I had a cinematographer and professional actors, but we shot the film with limited budget.
I worked with actually many female directors. One is sitting next to me, Fauzia. Um, I was very fortunate to work with, even in short film format, quite a lot. In fact, more female directors I worked with than probably male directors. Um, but how Anasuya was saying, I felt even with female director that there aren't enough. Hence, maybe these women who has come as directors, finally they really had to work hard to reach. So they are already very refined. Probably the very refined women who worked so hard, and so I felt that they are the cherry of authors. Finally, we got to work, because it's not like every female I know who really want to make films end up making films. So who were really smart, who really worked hard, who pierced through all the fights they had, like, so already they'll be amazing. It's like that is the reality to it. Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's a sad story, as in, like, you have to prove it has to be a good film. I feel female directors don't have a choice to make a bad film, but we should be able to make bad films too. It should be that common. That it's so rare that the best only comes out because yeah, it's a very funny journey that way I feel. But whenever I have worked with female directors, I would say I had all kinds of experience, because I had the opportunity to work with many. There was less female gaze. I've seen very misogynistic view of also coming from female directors. I thought that's great to have all that experience, and they're also learning, unlearning. And then there were female directors who were very sure of their gaze, and so that's the aspiration. And also, of course, we are talking about only two genders. I know it's a female panel, but I'm saying that there are across genders we should be able to produce, act, everything.
Yes.
That's the aspiration. And as characters, thankfully I'm coming from Kerala, and if I were to classify commercial or art, I mean independent film at least, we've been fortunate to have really amazing female characters written in the 80s and 90s. I grew up watching that. But like you said, in independent cinemas, probably there were, once in a while characters coming like that. But maybe this year or in the last few years, many have come together at the same time. Then you see, it's like a culmination, or it's like a wave. But I feel independently or individually, people have been working towards that. There have been stories we made, like for example, even Mitro, when I don't know if it's working. So I was very happy to see it. So there was Revati directing and Shobha acting, and I saw, oh, there is a female DOP, and I remember that moment. I went to the preview or something in Trivandrum, and I was like, oh, women can be like, I remember my, so there was individual journeys of many in the past, which is probably not recognized sometimes, like in any other movement. But sometimes when it all comes together, when you get to watch like even Shuchi's film or like Rima's, like in the past few years, many is coming out and many is recognized even globally. Hence, we are putting light. But otherwise, the work has been a continuous process of many people. It's not sudden, is how I see a lot of people's work and continue to. So that's how I see it. Yeah.
Thank you. Do you think the industry is changing when it comes to providing opportunities for women to direct or to work in a male team? If so, how?
I feel it is changing definitely, and I'm very glad Kani very rightly pointed out that yes, it's a female panel, and but also other genders beyond the two genders, because I also think the more than the what we understand as a female gaze, I think we are also just trying to move away from the male gaze as we've known it for so long, and it's just I think it's the need of the hour. Everyone wants it. We're all ready for it. A different kind of masculinity, not what we've been shown or what we've had all along. So within that, to come back to your question, that it's slow, I feel, but when I am on a film set now, as compared to 10 years ago, I do see a difference. There is a lot more opportunity. There are, just in terms of each department, you can see that it's a lot more inclusive, it's a lot more diverse than when it was before. And of course, much more can happen. But I think it's in the offing, the work has been going on, as you said, even before. It's happening now. So it'll hopefully only get better and more inclusive from here on. And yes.
I am representing Indian Women Monographers Collective as a founder member, and the need of the hour is that there should be much more opportunity available for women technicians, because again, you are in the margin and you are not visible. And when it comes to, say, somebody shortlisting, like who are the possible people who are, among the crewing up process, it needn't be that even a single woman's name comes up there. So it is real, and there can be a hell of a lot of work can happen there. I mean, maybe policy level or whatever, because in corporate sector, in advertising and all, they have like 50% women should be there in your crew. So that may be the need of the hour, and definitely though younger generation has more fluidity, and you can see in their interactions and a lot more of gender neutral situations. It doesn't matter.
She's becoming a producer, in fact.
I'll have to stick with. Yeah, I mean, of course, I don't know the technicality of it, or I haven't grasped the whole, what it really means to be. But like you were saying, like I have a lot of, when I was younger, I have seen girls independently, like maybe they have a tiny camera with them somehow trying to make films, and one of that stood out to me was Kunyala's film. Like even before she went to SRFTA, she was in college, she did some short films with her friends in college, and I thought, oh, she has her own something. There is something the female world is shown in a way that I would like to see or I have not seen, and I was very happy. And I continued to observe what she does. So then I understood that she went to a college film school, so you won't write her an email, are you writing something now, can I read it? Because I was just naturally curious how her mind is developing, what is happening. So then every now and then I would ask, and then she started sending me scripts, so I'll give my thoughts. So it was more like a creative producer, or that's how it started happening. And then whenever I read her scripts, I'm like, I somehow want to help her and somehow want to be able to make it. Like I don't know how to, but whatever I can do in my capacity. So that's how it happened. It's not, it was very as organic as it could be. But I do feel that about a lot of people around me, especially women. Of course, I am a bit biased that way, I think. And when I see beautiful stories written and they are not able to yet make, or if, like you said, like if there is some in my capacity that I can bring more light into that project to be able to make, and I want to be that door that can happen. So. Yeah, that is there. It is like genuinely I wanted to happen. But I think in Kerala and all, we are a small community that way. We all know each other and everybody does it. But maybe more of an like how she took an initiative for cinematographers, or like sometimes it some kind of an organized way can help and make things easier, and that's there. But I think unknowingly we do this, like, but yeah, I mean, like when I read even about you, like, I was like, oh, she was an actor, then she did this and this and this, and I was like, wow, I was very impressed. I did not know you, like, I just read it in the newspaper first, and I remember once I went to a festival in Russia, and there was one actress like this. She also struggled for a I'm sorry, I forgot her name. She wrote and acted and everything she did, because there was never a right representation of a female character was coming to her, and she was like, okay, I'll write it. But it doesn't have to be this also, like ideal, but a lot work has to put in to make it. Maybe you have to go through this way for it to happen. Yeah. One thing I thought was these kind of, I don't know, like recognition or the journey these films had. Definitely, suddenly everyone wants to hear what you want to speak, and all these people were always there, and they were speaking. Like even when I look around me, all the artists or directors and production designers, everyone. They've been there, they have stories, they want to speak, or they want to act, or and but it just, you really have to reach or get a recognition to be able to, and that's a hard way, really a hard way. And I sometimes think like I know many other wonderful independent film directors, female directors who has beautiful stories also around us. I just think these journeys that all these films suddenly had, or like in the past few years, gives. I hope that it makes the next film's journey a little easier. I'm hoping. I don't know if I only retrospectively I'll be able to say that, because I think maybe Pal's or like maybe everyone's journey was hard. Maybe it was slightly easier than the women before. I'm assuming that's how it's been. That way, coming back to India, I felt there are people wanting to listen what you want to do, what you want to say. That suddenly became easier. That's one change I definitely noticed, not just to me, but to all the artists who were part of all this. But it shouldn't be the case. And they want to speak not because they won an award or not because they went to a certain festival. I'm sure there are amazing creators right now is there at IFFK walking around, and probably there's nobody's hearing their story, and now everyone. I think it happens with commercial release films as well. You have like to be there. So how to make it easy, how to make it a little more easier to approach, like you're saying, what kind of systems you can bring in, where the steps are slightly easier. It's not such a hard way, and sometimes you don't. I don't know who. I think of the people who couldn't make a film. I don't. I'm sure there were many or something, and that's how I see it. Yeah.
The female gaze has changed the way of storytelling in cinema right now. So, women described by women are more relatable to women. So, what is your opinion about men written by women? Has that also changed, and has that also made a safer space for men to view how women like men to? And a second part is, when I watched All We Imagine Is Light, it slightly reminded me of Shalini and the Bhutari, because of the friendship between Prabha and Anu. So in older films, when we see there was a generation of films where female friendship was celebrated, whereas we lost that in between. So are we coming back into that genre now, celebrating female friendships? Movies like Girlfriend, things like that are coming where female bonds are being celebrated, and women for women, women supporting women are being more into the limelight. So what is your opinion about men written about women and female friendships?
I mean, I'm going to speak only about Kerala's films because I haven't watched many other films from other region. I have been fascinated by many female characters written by men as well, or friendship of women in Kerala at least. I think even in November in the Nashtam by Padmanajan, the friendship between the sister-in-laws, I think Madhavi and just that song, Ari Kilo Akaleo, I just thought, when I watched that first, it's not that popular song. I mean, it's just two sister-in-laws, they are just spending some time, it's just really fun to watch. And I was like, this is a male director and it doesn't have that kind of significance in the story also. They can easily cut away that scene if they want. But it was there. So there were many such films, I'm not naming each, but in Malayalam cinema I felt there was been certain kind of female friendships and was there, it comes and sometimes it goes away. Like it's a trend, I think. I don't know, like any other stories also happen sometimes, like, this genre is working now, let's just, low risk is what producers, when they come, because it is a lot of money involved in this process, and so this is working, and then let's just make maximum out of it, and then someone else has to come, some Zeithack guys have to come and then take some risk, and maybe they will face a flop, but then re-emerges another kind of storytelling. My hope is like how diverse all stories can be at the same time. How can we not follow a trend or like a certain thing is a hit now, whether it's independent or commercial or any film, but can we have the guts to just be diverse as possible and be able to tell the stories, whether it's a male author portraying female characters, or that's what I'm saying, more, it doesn't stick to me to just that, it's about the diversity as much as possible in storytelling. And for that, like Fauzi was saying, in Kerala I feel we've been, there has been film clubs and we have been slowly getting educated or like have a training of how to watch films and to accept diversities compared to maybe other states. A little more we have, but we can go more long way and be as audience and as film lovers or filmmakers to how much diversity we can bring in storytelling in all aspects is how I see it. So this comes a part in it for me. So like I said, I have seen female authors also portraying male characters with a male gaze or sometimes not the right representation. I have felt when I worked with them also, sometimes when I've read it also. But there are, but most female directors I worked with had, I felt, oh, I understand this character. But there were this other also, but I think that's how it is going to be, it's not going to just stay in, oh, just because female directors making it will have female gaze. It's not at all that. It can work in every way. It is the practice of the craft also, understanding how to look, what lens you use, if this is the scene, how far you should be away from this to not titillate or objectify the particular scene. It's also learning of all that. There's a clear craft behind this medium, like all of us know, and learning that, how much to unlearn. We are also, every day, our aesthetic sense grow from childhood. And why do I like this kind of an aesthetics? And sometimes we fall into the titillation also, and which can be also beautiful, which can be also objectifying, and any gender can fall into that as well. But do we want to unlearn that? Do we want to consciously put in an effort when we show certain scenes or any scenes? What is our gaze, and how do we bring our craft into understanding how our gaze is getting defined? definitely it can be completely male gaze even if all females are making it. It's not coming only from that. It is a work of that individual in their life to really learn and unlearn the aesthetics of cinema, of everything around, you know. So that's how I see it. So it's not just compartmentalized for me with just gender specified for me.